Morning, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen. Donna, thank you for letting me share this data. The best way I can describe the app, and I think what's happened previously is maybe the description has thrown everyone off, but it's a targeted outreach program. And what I mean by that is it's scrubbing through your phone, right? Like you download the app, you sync up the contacts on your phone, and it does all of that automatically. And then it starts running AI to determine who out of those contacts you should be reaching out to. So let me walk you through that. So Donna, you did awesome. You uploaded like 4,001 people. That's the average is like 1,200. But if I said today, like, hey, let's call 4,000 people, you could like kick me. Like, that's silly.
That's right.
So no, we're not going to do that. So the app starts to do some work to like clean that up. So it removes some junk, removes some duplicates. It removed almost 400 realtors. I can almost guarantee there's a couple more in there, right? And it left you with 2,520 target contacts. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're like me, you probably don't have first name, last name, full home address for your contacts in your phone. Like I don't. So what the app actually does from there is it'll pull in addresses because it needs the address to run its AI. So in this case, it pulled in almost 1,300 addresses and connected them to the name and the phone number that you had in your phone,
Wow.
which is great. Like that right there, there's some value with that probably. Now, past that, it's going to run its AI. And what it does is it takes about 700 public data points, things like equity in the home, how long they've been there, size of the house. It could be life events, marriage, divorce, kids. If they adopted a dog during COVID, like me, like any and all of these things. It can be something like a school zone got redistricted. They know that there's 2 kids in the house. Does that mean they want to move or stay, right? It can be any and all of these things. But what happens is it gets meshed together to give these star ratings. And very, very technically, the algorithm actually ranks the entire US population and then kicks out these star ratings. So you can say a 3-star contact is 90% more likely to list than your average US homeowner. A 2-star is around 85 and a 1-star is around 75, right? So, and this is what I mean by targeted outreach. We went from 4,000, I'm going to kick you in the face, Frank, if we have to call all of them, right, down to 380 starred contacts. Now, realistically speaking, and I don't like to call these leads, right, because they're people in your phone, but if I gave you 400 leads, would every single one of them be perfect? Like, no, like hell no, probably, right? I wish. So the same thing here, but that's okay. Like I had a guy that came up to me once and he was like, hey, one of my 3-star contacts is my deceased grandfather. And I go, okay, I'm really sorry to hear that. Can you tell me a little bit more? And he was like, yeah, he's been living with me for the past 2 years. And I go, okay, well, you're a realtor and have been for a long time. All the internet activity that you're doing, his name got associated with that. You fooled the algorithm. But in this guy's mind, because one of them didn't make sense, he was like, well, the next 379 people don't make sense. And I'm like, that's just not how leads or anything really work, right? Like, so what we're going to show today is delete the people that don't make sense. So you're kind of cleaning up this 380. You might clean up 80, 100 people out of this, right? But then at least you're targeting the right people anyway. So we teach now, delete 5 people that don't make sense in your app. So you're starting to clean it up daily and then reach out to 5 people. And that's it. And I'm going to show you, I'll hop on the app. I've actually pulled up my, so I have like a demo account, but I've actually pulled up my like own app here because I want to show you like realistically how to do this. So, and then like Alex said, you know, if you guys have questions, come off mute, feel free to shout at me. Like this is meant to be interactive. Okay, so I'm going to open up my app here. Don't do that. Okay, so in this case for me, right, I had 730 contacts in my phone and I got down to 143 start opportunities. right? Meaning like there's 143 people that the app thinks I should reach out to. I bet you not all of them will be correct, right? Which is fine, just delete them. So Donna, how long did you say you've had the app for?
Since we first started it.
Okay, so a little while now, right? And then correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably opened the app, you saw this, you saw 380, right? Instead of this 143, you saw 380 when Eek closed the app and kind of like walked away. Is that fairly accurate? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that that is super common. And I think the reality is a lot of tech gets thrown at you without any like, I don't know, way to determine how to actually use that tech. It's really hard, right? So the first thing I'll say is let's not be overwhelmed anymore. We got to come in here and we got a game plan. And that game plan is click that starred contact. So in my case, 143. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of 5 and 5. You might have clicked this and saw people that didn't make sense. And you're like, I don't know about this app. Again, closed it and walked away. So for me, I'll walk through the first 5 people in here, right? So Elias is a guy that I work with. Lacey is another person I work with. Scott was somebody I previously worked with. Jason, I have no idea who that is. And then that's me, right? So out of these first 5, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to click on me and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click delete contact because I'm never going to reach out to me through this. Now, this contact, this could be anybody. This could be my mom or dad that I would never talk to through this app. It could be friends or family, somebody that just doesn't make sense that I would never reach out to through this app. Fine. If I click delete contact, I'm deleting them from this app, not from my phone, right? So I'm just kind of cleaning up this number in here. Okay. Past that, let's go back up top. Elias, cool. I could reach out to Elias, right? And what's interesting is I can click text and it'll pull up my native text app, right? It'll pull up the app on my phone that I use to text. So a lot of times people will be like, I can't remember who this person is or how do I know them? And at R4, I was like, just click text, see what happens, right? Him and I spent time at R4 together. And actually I was playing around with this yesterday. So that's the text that I sent him yesterday, which was, we were like, this is a script that I've been using for this app, right? Hey, Elliot, it's been a long time since we've caught up. Was thinking about you the other day. Got any time to catch up this week, right? That's really the app. So I'm going to click back into the app. And then this blue button is the best practice that the people that are using this app successfully swear by. And the reason for that is, let's just say we actually did 5 and 5 a day. So we deleted 5 people that we didn't like, didn't want to talk to, and we actually reached out to 5 people. By the end of the week, that's 25 people. By the end of the month, that's 100. I'm not going to remember where I'm at with all these people. So let the app do the work. Click this blue button. So if I click set next step, I now have the ability to decide how I want to reach out to this person next. And what that means is I can say, all right, cool. Do I want to call them again? Do I want to try to call them, email them, text them, send a social media message, right? And then I can say when. So let's just say for right now, I want to say, all right, cool. I'm going to text Elias tomorrow. Click add. You get confetti for everything you do well in the app. I can come back, hit close, come back into my homepage. There you go. Text Elias tomorrow. And what's going to happen is the app is actually going to give me a notification saying, hey, by the way, you said you wanted to text Elias. Do you want to go ahead and do that? That's it. Now say that I don't want to do that. All right, cool. I just click it, delete next step. Maybe he responded and we're already talking. So I don't need a reminder to talk to him because we're actually already talking. Great. That's what you wanted anyway. Now that's person number 1. Person number 2, Lacey. How do I know Lacey? I'll click on this. If you've never reached out to them through text, you'll get this. You'll get text templates, right? And what's nice about this is it gives you some idea what to start with, but it's still editable. The second one is kind of gentlest in my mind. Hi, Lacey, it's been too long. I'd love to catch up. What does your week look like? This first one is funny to me. Hi, Lacey, your name popped up in my database, a word I would never ever use when reaching out to anybody, probably in my life, right? Christy, you're shaking your head like hell no, right? Like hell no. But I can click send text from template and I can change that. And that's great. Hi, Lacey, your name popped up in my mind, right? And I want to check in with you. How's everything going? The market's been crazy lately. Cool. I don't actually want to send this. And again, it pulled up the real text because these are like real people in my phone. Okay. Which is a little dangerous, I guess, but when I'm playing around with it. Okay. Now, the other thing I like to do is scroll down and just check that that property makes sense for the person, right? And then if I look at it again, imported by first, right? So remember, Donna, we were talking about yours and how it pulled in like almost 1,300 addresses, right? This is where you'd see that pulled in. So as long as that makes sense, then I'm going to reach out to this person. The other thing I'll say is there's nothing stopping you from, before sending out an initial text to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, looking them up on Facebook, LinkedIn, something like that, to either refresh your memory of how you know them or give you like a current event that's going on in their life to text them about, right? So, hey, Lacey, saw that you just got a promotion. Congrats, would love to catch up. Got any time this week? Question mark, right? That's really what you're looking to do with the app. And if you've taken the time, if you're taking a little bit of time to look them up on a social media, you can add that in here. I can click add social, right? Which means I can type in their Facebook, their LinkedIn profile, something like that, save social, and then I'd have them in here and I can message them that way. And the reason I throw this out there is this. When I'm setting next steps, right? If I've sent 2 or 3 texts, I don't think, like, what's the definition of insanity, right? Like doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result, right? So like, I'm not going to send some person 20 texts, crossing my fingers. Like by 3 or 4, I'm going to be like, all right, cool. I got to mix this up, right? Like this isn't working. So I might say, all right, I'll bite the bullet and call, or I'll add their social media and I might message them that way. Or I might go try to do like a pop by or something like that, right? So you can set that as the reminder in here to say to yourself, all right, well, cadence wise, I'm not going to send the 5th text. I'm going to go ahead and change this up now. I would say text is the first form of communication that a lot of people use, but it also depends on how you know the person. I have some friends that we talk on social, like on Facebook Messenger, and I probably don't text them that much, right? But like maybe that's like 1 or 2 people I'm talking about that I can remember. But maybe I would just be social. And for me, if I get a Facebook message, because I don't get them very often, I respond to them like really quick, mostly because it's like a novelty. And I have an agent that swears by that because you get the read receipt, right? So she thinks she's guilting them into responding to her. And I'm like, great, if they're responding to you, that's all that really matters. So again, you can set the next steps for what makes sense as you're going along through the cadence. We know that it takes on average 6 contact attempts for somebody to respond anyway. So if I haven't talked to somebody in 5 years, I'm not going to cry if they haven't talked to me, like responded back in 5 minutes. I'm just going to try a different method over the next couple times. All right. Who's the next person? Scott Peterson is actually a former boss. I don't like him. So I would probably click that and scroll down and delete. Unless I could like bite the bullet maybe and say to myself, I'd rather a sale than anything else, right? And then I would reach out and say hi. We were like friendly, but okay. And then next person, Jason Tim Skies, have no idea who that is. So you can do a couple things in that regard. You could look them up, right? Like start searching for them. You can go in there and delete. I have this. You can make any group that you want. So I've created a group called Not Sure Who They Are, mostly so that I can just put people in there that I don't know who they are, and then either circle back around or just, maybe I don't want to waste my time right at the moment. I want to send my 5 texts today, but I can click on that person. I can scroll to the bottom, right? Oh, he lives in Utah. Okay. And then all of the groups that I have are right here. I can click Not Sure Who They Are. I've now just put Jason in the not sure who they are group, right? And I'll circle back to them later. Again, like I'm showing you mine. So like, this is a restaurant I used to work at. Xfinity was a client that I used to have, right? So like, even if your phone isn't perfect, it's still gonna work to pull in, because it's really just trying to use that like whatever name it's got plus telephone number to pull in an address and then go from there. Like I said, I always say double check the property, make sure it makes sense for the person that you think you're talking to, but then do the outreach. We're gonna talk through some other stuff, but this is the app. Like the biggest thing with this app is, can you reach out to 5 people that you probably haven't talked to in a while a day? If you can do that, which let's be honest, we should be doing outreach anyway, right? But this is probably nicer because you can reconnect with some people that you haven't talked to in a while, rather than like 200 cold calls or something like that. The other thing I'll say, and actually let me pull this up. Alex, you guys are getting all the good stuff today, okay? Because this is like literally something I've been working on and trying to share with product marketing, but we're like, we'll just give it to you. So again, like I say, first is a targeted outreach program, right? It's like, that's the mentality that I think you need to go in with this rather than anything else. It's not a CRM. If you say to yourself, this is a CRM, you start expecting it to do a drip campaign and like 5 other things that it was never designed to do. You know, Donna, it went from 4,000 contacts down to 308. Maybe get rid of 100 of those. Can you talk to 200 people in the next month or so? If we download the app, it's free for 60 days. It's $465 a year after that. So we're talking less than 40 bucks a month. Okay. How to start a conversation with first, right? Like that's really the point of where everyone gets stuck, right? So, you know, I was taught, I come from a sales training background, you know, the 3 standard icebreakers are weather, because you can always talk about the weather. That's why people joke about that. A small joke or sincere compliment. That can be hard sometimes through text with those 3. You could probably do it depending on how you know them. But this sincere apology scripting is kind of where we're at. And I'll read you some of the quotes that we've been working on, right? So, hi, Alex. It's funny that I used Alex, actually. Hi, Alex. I'm so sorry I haven't been in touch recently. Was thinking about you the other day and just wanted to reach out and say hi. Do you have any time to catch up this week? That is a fairly gentle icebreaker. Hey, man, I haven't talked to you in a while. My bad. Can we catch up? By the way, COVID happened for everybody, right? So like, it's not crazy to say something to that effect either. Hey, Alex, I don't know about you. There's 2 years of my life that I can barely remember because it's gone by in a flash or something like that. Hope you're doing well. Got any time to catch up, right? Whatever you want to say here. The way that I look at this sincere apology scripting is you're kind of taking the embarrassment away. Because I don't know about you, if you've ever been embarrassed to talk to somebody because it's almost been too long, like you've like gone past the point where you feel like you can say hi anymore. That's what you're trying to combat with this. You're trying to say, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I haven't done a good job of being in touch. Totally my fault, but I would love to reconnect. Do you have any time to catch up? Now, I add in here, always click the blue button. Right? Like if the best practice is always click the blue button. And the reason I say that is we want you to do a lot of outreach, but we don't want it to get too confusing. So just set the next step, let the app do the work for you. I've got a guy that set 1,800 next steps. He's used the app for about 1.5 years. He's got about 45 listings he directly attributes to the app. He swears by hitting the blue button because it just allows him to like set it and forget it. He knows the app will remind him. In February, he had 2 listings from the app. One was somebody he hadn't talked to since 2007, and the other person was somebody he hadn't talked to since 2010. This scripting comes from working with him, right? Because he's very much about just like taking the blame. The next scripting that we have, and you can kind of combine this, is I call it current event scripting. So what you're doing here is you're using something current, right, to tie in. He doesn't actually write out text templates. This is what he does as well. So in January, what was he saying? Happy New Year, right? When January, like when the clock hit January, he was saying, Happy New Year, haven't talked to you in a while, would love to catch up. Got any big plans this year? Question mark, right? See what happens. If you send that to 5 people that you know-ish, right? Even if you haven't talked to them in a while, 1 of them will respond. 2 of them maybe, right? If you send them to 25, like now we're kind of talking. So that's what this is. February, hey Alex, did you and your wife do anything special for Valentine's Day? Was thinking of you the other day, just seeing if you had time for a chat. Today's St. Patty's Day. There you go. Hey Alex, haven't touched base in a while. Got any big plans for St. Patty's Day? I'd love to catch up after the holiday if you're free, right? Again, this isn't like rocket science. It's a simple icebreaker to reconnect to somebody that's in your phone somehow. And then the last one is this, I call it in the neighborhood scripting. So you're using like a pretty powerful impulse factor, which is Jones effect, which is like that idea that everybody wants what somebody else has, right? Keeping up with the Joneses kind of thought process. So, hi, Alex, I was in your neighborhood the other day doing a showing. It made me think of you. Your area is really hot right now. Do you have any time to catch up? This is maybe somebody that you're talking to more frequently, maybe that knows you're a realtor. So you're not like as embarrassed necessarily to go jump right in. I think a lot of times people opened up the app and thought they had to send a text that said, hey, Alex, we haven't talked in 5 years. Can I list your house tomorrow? Right? And like, that doesn't feel comfortable, so you're not going to do it. But any of these in the neighborhoods can, hey, Alex, drove by your house the other day and realized we haven't caught up in a while. I should have stopped in, but was running to a showing. Your area is super hot at the moment. Would love to catch up this week if you're free at all, right? You don't necessarily have to be in their neighborhood that week. It could have been last month, doesn't really matter. You still want to send a text. Now, this is kind of like, we're going in a little salesy here, but like, this is how I think of using the app. Like if you're talking about impulse factors, right? So fear of loss, urgency, greed, indifference, right? Jones effect, power suggestion, like these are the things that you want to make sure that you're like using in these texts. It doesn't have to be the first text. The first text to me is an icebreaker. First text is, hey, how's it going? Hope we can catch up soon, right? I always end something with a question mark. It's like dating, right? Like you want a response back. So you invite them to send you something back. And then I don't know if you guys are doing, or any of you guys doing like Buffini or Tom Ferry or anything like that. Sort of. Christy, you said kind of, or look, yeah, maybe a little. You guys can come off of mute too, by the way. I'm tired of hearing me. For me, how I was always taught to set goals was this. It was called the SMAC principle, which was specific, measurable, attainable, and challenging. And that's why I do 5 and 5, right? I want it to be specific. I want to be able to measure it on a daily basis. I want it to be something attainable. If I look at the app and I say, I'm gonna hit 100 people today, no, no, I'm not. So like, if it's not attainable, I'll become demotivated. And then, yeah, I want it to be a little bit of a challenge. And then as I get comfortable, maybe I make it more of a challenge, right? Maybe if I'm comfortable and it's working, I send 10 texts a day and I delete 10 people or something like that. The last thing here that I had, like I said, that's why the 5 and 5 makes sense for me. The biggest thing I'll say out of these 2 things is just delete them, because I heard over and over and over at R4, this person doesn't make sense. This person in my app doesn't make sense. Okay, who cares? Like, that's fine. They don't, like, nothing's perfect. So the app went from 4,000 contacts to 300 and 50 of them aren't great. Okay, if I gave you 400 leads, 150 of them would suck, right? So like, just delete, and I'm sorry to put it that way, right? But like, just trying to be real. So just delete them. Don't get hung up on it, just delete them. And then the next part is just do it. That's what all the Buffinis and Tom Ferrys and everyone say, right? It's like super at the very end of the day, when it all like comes down to what you should be doing, it's you should be doing something rather than nothing. And the app is just directing you towards some of that something. So whatever you're comfortable with, if it's 2 and 2, you want to start that way, I don't care. Send 2 texts a day, delete 2 people. That'd take literally probably 10 minutes and move on with the day. Because that's the other thing about the app. I don't think it's designed to be, I'm going to use first for 5 hours today. It's like designed to be, it's on your phone for a reason. Like you guys are busy, so be busy. And then as you go through your day, find a time to send a couple texts, right? In between showings or in line at Starbucks or whatever it is. Instead of getting on Facebook and Instagram and scrolling for 10 minutes, send 2 texts. The other thing I add in here, which is kind of the last principle that I think about with this, is read, relate, relax. And we kind of talked about it. But in terms of like that fallback strategy of like, hey, I don't know this person, I don't remember this person, or it's been way too long, then yeah, take 5 minutes of your day, look them up on LinkedIn and Facebook, have something to relate to them about, and reach out. Hey, Alex, congratulations on your promotion. I just saw it on LinkedIn. It's been years since we've caught up. Hope you're doing well. Got any time to catch up this week? I'd love to hear all about it. Or, hey, Alex, saw that your kid just turned 4. That's super exciting. Would love to catch up, hear all about it. Whatever it is, right? And you can find, like, information's out there. We live in an information age. It's just about going out there and doing it. So now you guys can come off of mute because you're my guinea pigs, because we're doing like the real thing here, which is, what are some ideas or texts that you guys would feel comfortable texting? That's my question.
Questions. I feel like I would ask people questions.
Open-ended questions, right?
Like I just posted on Facebook yesterday, I'm looking for the perfect cup of chai tea to gift to my sister. I need to know where in Phoenix to go get chai. I know you're a coffee drinker or something like that. I feel like people are more likely to give their opinions sometimes. They'll answer a questionnaire or vote on something or something like that. So yeah, questions would be a good one. I feel like for this, I used First after convention in 2020.
Okay.
And I didn't do enough of that. I did more, I did it like in a scared tactic. Like, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are you doing? And they'd be like, great, how are you? And that was it. And it was totally weak.
Almost made it more awkward.
Totally. So now I just go in with more intention, way more intention this time.
Yep. I also don't think you necessarily lead with real estate, right? But I love the circle back around where you're like, hey, by the way, I don't know if you remember, I'm a real estate agent. The market's kind of crazy right now. Do you need any help, or do you know of anyone else that does?
Yeah.
Because then you're casting a wider net that way anyway. Guy I talked to yesterday, he moved from Minneapolis to Colorado. He was about to delete a Minneapolis contact, and he just said hi anyway, right? He got 2 referrals for himself in Colorado, and will be able to refer her house if they decide to list soon in Minneapolis. So like, what's the harm here? And they were catching up about like life, he checked in on how her husband was doing and a couple other things. Like they had an actual nice conversation, which is like a nice way to have your day anyway. Donna, sorry, you came off of mute and then I totally cut you off.
No, I didn't say anything. I'm just listening.
Gotcha.
But I agree with Christy is that it's got to be more deep. It can't just be, hi, how you doing?
Right. Fair. Then, hi, how you doing? Chai is funny to me because that's what I drank this morning, right? So like, I'd be all about that question, right? Yeah. So I love open-ended questions. That's just sales 101 anyway, right? Like all of this stuff that I'm showing is just sales 101 stuff anyway, right? So it's just, instead of not doing it or being scared by the app, just do something and say something. So I'm gonna stop that share. I think that's really it. Like, now I'll hop back in the app and show you a couple more things while we're at it, but like, thank you, because to me, that's the light bulb that we're trying to show is that.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I'll tell you my experience with using with using First. I also used it for the first time in 2020, and I reconnected with a couple of people through it. And but what I found most was that the properties that were pulled in for them were not accurate. It was either sold or, something else. So I was finding myself doing a lot more work trying to make sure before I even called that they still owned that property.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the things I have is how accurate is that link? And two, if they're able to pull in properties, can it also pull in social profiles so that before you call, you can just check out their social profile so you have a starting point. Does that make sense? You give an example of, oh, your son just turned 4. In order to know that, you basically have to go into the social media first. That's an extra step. So is there a way where in the app you can pull in their social profiles, one click, take a quick glance and be like, okay, I know they just traveled. How was your trip? Something like that.
I want to say yes, because I think it'd be an amazing feature in there, but it's not. And mostly it's because unless it's like a contact in your phone with that social profile, like this guy, Scott, because we work together, I have his LinkedIn, right? Like that's why it got pulled in. It's hard for the app to get it off of Facebook or LinkedIn because they're not willing to share it. So yes, you're right. It is one extra step to do it. So maybe you're spending 20 minutes on your phone and a computer in the morning, like Googling that address and Googling that person's like social media before you reach out initially. But if you factor that time in, then maybe it's worth it. In terms of them pulling in the property, this is like what you can do, right? Like yes owns, yes rents, or no. And if it's like no, or they have a second home or something, you can add that property in here so that it'll continue to like rank them or star rate them accordingly.
Got it.
I pulled you up, by the way. So you added 3,000 contacts and got down to 368 stars. So like that's still some good runway. When you're saying the like addresses were wrong, how many was that for? I guess would be my question. Or how many?
Probably like
it probably
3.
felt like a lot. I bet.
Yeah, it was like 3, and I was like, eh. And then COVID hit, and I was definitely like, yeah.
Right. Totally, right? But I guess like my only flip side to that is yes, right? But you had 365 more people to go.
True.
And I would hope that in that, you would have saw something would have hit for you, got a listing out of that.
Right. And like I said, I reconnected with some of my friends. One of them said they wanted to do something with real estate. Oh, my other question, how is this useful with teams? Like, let's say you're on a team. Does every team member have to have their own?
Yeah. So again, this was a Remax purchase in 2019, right? So like it had never originally been designed for teams. I guess my question is, what would you like it to do within the team? Because every team operates differently. So it's like, again, it's also your contacts. So I've had one team leader have it and would like send out starred contacts to the rest of the team and they would follow up that way. You can do this. The probably best use that you can do is an account here, this export contact to CSV, that third one down. You can export this whole list to an Excel file and then like divvy it that way between the teams. But again, like if I'm sending a text or making a phone call, that's coming from my phone here.
True.
So it's again not really set up for teams.
Right, you want it to be your own personal contacts because all my 3,000 came off of my phone.
Exactly. So you can export it if that will help you in the team, or everybody on the team gets it and you guys hold each other accountable. That's probably the best team use I could see to like doing it. But that's probably about it. Moving forward, there's going to be a CRM integration and then it'll be on a computer and then maybe that will have more team functionality. But again, never original design, so it's not really there.
Sure. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I have a few more questions, Frank.
Sure, please.
Were you saying we can set up text templates? Is that
So-
what that was about?
There are text templates in here if you've never texted them before. So this blue box is your text templates. These are the only ones. They're
But I
edited.
can't, can I make my own? I know I could probably just copy and paste, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is if I wanted to do this like chai tea question and have that be the question for 10 people that week, because it's relevant to my Facebook and they might have seen it anyway. Can I just use that as a template? Or
Yeah, well, what an agent will do in that case is they'll just type it in their notes, like in their notes section on the phone, and then just copy and paste.
Yeah. And then,
or you can set up a keyboard shortcut.
okay, that's another class.
Alex,
Alex
that's on
class.
you. No, I'm just kidding.
And when I used it before, like clearly I didn't dive deep enough because it was not a comfort zone for me.
Mhm.
And what I found that I got out of it more was more people it was the app telling me when I would lose a contact, like when somebody else would buy a house from another agent that wasn't me, and I let that get into my head a lot, where finally I was like, this sucks. It's just telling me how much I suck as an agent.
Yeah, so like
I agree, Christy.
I don't have that up because I'm on my account, and on the demo account you'd see that like missed deals and won deals. Let me say a couple things to that. One, it was never designed to be like a teeth TV, right? It was more designed as like, hey, this is data. How do you want to use that data, right? Because you can click in there and see your deals won and see your deals missed. So you could see the people, right? And one of the agents that left after R4 and I caught up with her, she was like, I had so many past clients and my deals missed. I thought I was doing a better job. Like, I thought people liked me. I thought I was keeping in touch. And then I reached out to them after I saw them as a missed deal, and they were like, oh, we would have gone with you. Right. So like, I think the reality is she just hadn't reached out to them at the right time. And that's what I think the app really says is like, hey, try to get here. Like, it's titled first for a reason. It sounds kind of corny, but like, that's the thing. It's like, can you get to this person first before somebody else does? And that's why it's directing you to do the outreach sooner. But I did have somebody, Christy, come up to me and go, I hate your app. I see all my missed deals.
Yeah, but I'm being honest. Is there a way to hide that?
Yeah, just turn off
that's why I quit.
Yeah. Come in here, manage my agent MLS ID, and just remove it.
Okay.
100%. And I have agents do that. Don't want to see it, don't have to see it. Just take out the MLS ID. It won't connect. You won't see it anymore. If it's
30 days or 60 days for free? Oh, if I've used it before, that won't be applicable, right?
Correct.
Probably not. Okay.
Correct. But yeah, you just come out, you just take out and don't link your MLS ID or just remove it if it is linked, and then you won't see that feature. I call this a bonus feature of the app, the network efficiency. I don't think it's the app, but if it's like hurting your soul, I definitely think you should remove it.
It definitely hurt my soul. Yeah.
And then just come back in here and do your 5 and 5 and be blissfully happy that you're talking to some more people about chai. Like, that's a good thing. What other questions?
That's it.
Cool. I guess my question for you is, after today, do you feel like you can come in here and do 2 and 2, 5 and 5, whatever it may be? Because that's really the app. If you think you can do it, I say go for it. If that doesn't seem like the right fit, then totally fair. Like, I'm not a strong arm person. I just like to show you what I think the app can do for you.
I think especially after the last 2 years, this is most applicable right now because I just haven't been in touch with people in the last 2 years. So it's a perfect way for me to kind of segue this and see who's looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no harm in saying that, right? Like, hey, COVID affected everybody. Hey, I haven't talked to I think what happened is we've talked to less people. Like, our large circle has shrunk or disappeared, right? And our tight circle has gotten tighter, right? Like the 5 people you talk to a lot. I don't talk to many people outside of that. So you can even say that, and it's like, if you like look at all the things I say, it's like, be sincere, be honest, be clear with them about what's going on in your life and ask to share in theirs. And that's all you're doing with the app. I love the open-ended question thing. Thank you. Like, I should have already had that in, but like a fun question, I would most likely respond to something like that. Maybe even over, hey, how's it going? Or how are you doing? Because I haven't talked to you in 5 years. So where am I going to start? Like,
Yeah.
you know, do you want to know what happened to me in the past 2 years, the past 5 years, the past 10, right? But like, what's my favorite chai place? Well, I like this chocolate one with collagen in it, right? Like, so yeah, that actually works really well in my mind.
And I am a pop by person, but if they haven't received a pop by from me in 2 years, also a little bit awkward to me, but not if I text and then follow up those with a pop by. Makes a lot more sense. And I'm getting back to the natural rhythm of what they know me to be, is like social and gift giving and stuff like that.
Agreed.
You could gift them some chai.
I could gift them some chai.
The other big thing is like, I don't know, if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, there is something nice for both parties to reconnect, right? Like, don't discount that aspect of it as well. Because the other thing you don't do is, I don't come into my phone and scroll through these people, right? So like, this app literally highlights some of these people as I scroll through here of who to reconnect with. The other thing I'll say is, don't scroll quickly, right? Like, because that was the guy at R4, and he was like, oh, all these people suck. And I was like, well, one, they're in your phone, right? And two, like, you didn't look, you just told yourself a story that this isn't going to work. So we slowed down and went one by one. Granted, we deleted like 15 ex-girlfriends out of here, right? That he was never going to talk to. But I was like, okay, like, at least you're getting closer to the real people that you reach out to. And he got a listing last week for like a tract of land. It's, you know, it's not $1 million house or anything, but it was a person that he hadn't talked to in a while that was looking for an empty plot. It's better than nothing, right? Like, and he's starting to reconnect with some people again. So, cool. Thank you guys. I appreciate your feedback. Like, that's actually really helpful.
Thank you.
Any other, oh, okay, let me show you the other thing. So the other thing in there with that whole like exporting, so you can export that list, you'll still get the starred contacts. And then if you're working off of a CRM or something, you can plug that into the CRM, if that helps. Nice. I'll give you the use case for this. I had an agent, she had like 600 3-star contacts. She was like, I don't know what to do here. So she exported it. And then she ended up sending an email. She emailed a CMA to all of her 3-star contacts. Barely said anything, by the way. Hey, this house, the number's higher than you thought. Like, do you want to talk about it? Right? Like, nothing too crazy. I had a mother-daughter team that I told that to. She was like, great, I'm going to send this to my daughter and she's going to do video CMAs tomorrow for everybody. Right? Like, so again, it's giving you the data. It still needs the real estate agent in you to drive it, right? That's really what it boils down to.
So wait, I got a question. So about the contacts. So what happens if we had numbers every single day into our phones? Do you got to keep updating that?
Nope, it'll pull it in. So in the morning, every morning, if you've added like a new contact into your phone directly, it'll pull it through. So I can click home, and then top right here, I've got sort. I can sort by new, so I can see if any of those new phone numbers came up as a star rating. Right.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
And then the other cool, and if you wanted to like immediately add somebody right here, you could just click that and just add them directly into first, but it'll pull through on a daily basis.
Right from your phone.
Yep, right from your phone. If you put like new contact into your phone, it'll pull into here.
Okay, great.
It tries to do, like I said, it tries to do some things for you, right? Sometimes it does, you know, like you're saying, Anu, like sometimes it doesn't. If it's pulling in bad addresses, it might be a previous address. it's most likely a previous address or something. I'll give you my example. So, because I agree with you, that's my dad's house, right? But the reason is we shared like telephone stuff. You know, we were on the same plan probably for a long time. And I think that's how it pulled up this, or it's pulling my last name and his last name, you know, like for whatever reason, that's my dad's house. So is it perfect? No, but like out of 300 contacts, I think it probably wins more than it loses. Cool.
And I'll say
Thanks.
this was really helpful to actually understand, you know, the purpose and how to use it, because it's one thing to have tech, it's another thing to really understand how it's meant to be used. And if you don't understand, until you understand it, if you're using it incorrectly, it either frustrate you or just completely stop you from using it. So this was very helpful.
Thank you. I think that's been maybe the biggest hurdle that I found at R4, because I talked to hundreds of agents there, right? And like, I think the biggest thing was they came in here, they opened this, right? They had a high number here and was like, what do I do with that? Right? Like Donna, you had 300 some odd things.
yeah.
Like, that's just an overwhelming start. And we went from 4,000 down to that, to like still scary.
Yeah.
So I think people were just like, okay, and now I'm here, like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, well, just start slowly and say hi to a couple people or ask them some questions and get the ball rolling. But more than that, what I found was delete, like delete the ones that you don't want to talk to, because they're also bugging you. Maybe not as hard as the missed deals, Christy. Like maybe it's not hurting your soul that bad, but like, if I'm never going to talk to this person or myself, like clean this up. So again, that this number actually comes down and looks more manageable, feels more manageable. I think that's a large part of it as well.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, the taking like Donna's 4,000 people and then getting it down to 300. Once you take those 300, export them out, delete all the rest, and put those 300 back in, it'll look at them again and it'll narrow it down even further. So that's how you take thousands of people and then get it down to an actual manageable normal number.
Right. Now I'll show you guys this other thing. And this is not my first thing to do recommendation, but it's another feature of the app, right? So I don't like to like skip showing you guys this, but I like to say this isn't the first thing you do today, right? You can import a CSV. So you can come into Max Center, you can search for it in first, or it's just this repeat and referral business. And I can click that and then sign up now is sign in if you've already signed up. And then the second one down is going to be import contacts. So like what Alex is saying is you can import, you know, you can export a CSV that you're working off of in a CRM and then import it in here. So again, I don't think I think the app can be overwhelming enough as it is. I don't think this is the first thing you do, right? But in a month or so, once you're comfortable and you've got another database or another email address or something like that with more contacts and you want to get them star rated, you can. I hopped on a call with somebody and he was like, he had 25,000 contacts or something. And he was like crying. And I was like, what did you do? And he's like, I uploaded 5 databases and added 3 email addresses. And I was like, yo, dude, like, that's why, like, you made it too hard for yourself, because now you really don't know more than half of these people, right? Because a lot of it was cold data too. So I like to share that you can. I like to say, hey, start with your phone contacts first. Like, let's get through that couple hundred, see where we land. And then you've got the opportunity to like come in here and do this.
And Frank, I'm guessing this is a monthly charge, or do we have to pay for the year?
$465 a year.
Oh, it's
I
only
think
an annual charge.
Yeah, I think when you first signed up, they had it as monthly ability, but now they just changed it to a yearly one-time thing.
Okay, and then for the 3 of us awesome agents who are on here, can we get a discount code?
I
That's
had
a good
discount
one.
codes to make it rain.
That's good.
For you, I would. But Andrew, I appreciate that you asked, because you should always ask
Right.
If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
100%, right? And that's kind of how I feel about with the app, right? If you don't reach out, you're never going to get somebody to do anything for you.
So sorry, I knew the
You
answer. is
summed up
no.
the last hour and
Right. I could have just said that and hung up.
So what you're saying is a maybe.
I'm saying I
You're
can.
saying there's a chance.
Yes, you're telling me
There's
there's
a
a chance. I'm saying I can try. How's that?
Okay, that's perfect.
Like, I can't promise anything, but I can promise to try.
Of course.
Um, And then Christy Colberg. Okay, Donna, are you current right now? Like, do you
Probably, I probably have it on automatic and it freaking charges my credit card all the time with a whole bunch of other stuff. And then my husband yells at me at the end of the year, what are all these charges on the credit card?
So then we have to get like 6 listings in the next 2 months out of this, right? To like
Better.
really,
Yeah, it paid for
really
itself.
take it into high
That's
gear.
right. That's right.
Please do that and tell me.
I tell you the truth.
Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, you are current, Donna. So
Oh, so
go forth.
no breaks for me, huh?
Yeah, and then yeah, let me just give me 2 seconds. I know.
Prices must have gone up though. I thought it was cheaper.
No, I think it's. I don't know that for a fact.
It's always been
I
this
think
price.
it was like
Yeah, I think it's always been this
$3.99 or
price.
something.
Nah, it's always been this price.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
unless they had like a, I don't know, something.
I thought they had a special or something,
Maybe at a convention when you first signed up.
maybe.
Donna and Christy, you guys hopped on it, I think like the first year that it was starting in like 2019.
Yeah, I feel like we got three months for free at convention.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, some stuff has changed. So the 3 months,
Yeah.
I think, is down to 2. The 4 is the same, but I think you guys might have gotten a special one because you signed up at R4 when they first announced it.
Yeah.
So I hate the call nights that we do. I will never do the call nights, but I would do this. If anybody wanted
What's
to
the
get
call
together.
nights?
Call nights is where we get together and call people in our sphere, but they just don't get calls from me anyway, so that would be super
Yeah.
weird.
Uh-huh.
But this, if we were to sit down and dig in and like do a first night for those of
Yep.
us in Remax professionals in our office that have the app, just to dig in, bring dinner and like knock out 30 texts or something like that and see what
idea.
happens would be really cool.
Alex, I
will
would come and
also
join
note that.
Chris- yeah, I'll come to that because that's actually been an idea that I actually wanted to do at like nationwide, but with time zones, I wasn't sure about it. But I still think it's doable, but like you guys are more active, so let's just do it.
Right.
And that's actually like, if you guys had all had it downloaded, that's probably what we would have done today. Right, which is just like, hey, let's send 5 texts, which is not stopping you, Donna, from making sure that we can pay for this. From getting 5 texts out today.
I'm here.
Right, you're there. And then Christy, Anu, I just asked, so I'll reach out to Alex if I get an answer that says it'll probably be like a 30-day trial. They probably won't give me 60 days again. And then just so you know, it'll be 30 days and then it'll roll on.
Sure.
So,
That actually be perfect.
so as soon as I hear back, I'll let you know.
Sounds good.
This was
All
great,
right.
you guys. Thank you very much.
It was great. Thank you
Awesome.
guys.
Yeah,
Thank
any
you,
other
everyone,
questions
for
or
joining.
anything?
No, this was good.
Cool, you guys got it.
Good luck. Go get a
Yeah.
If
chai.
you don't have questions, it's just know that all you got to do is that actually do it, right? So that's really
Yeah.
what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Cool, Alex. I'll reach out as soon as I hear back. And good luck, Donna. Go ahead and tell me how it goes. I want to hear
Will do.
in the next couple of days. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All
Frank.
Cool.
Thanks,
No
guys.
worries.
Have a good
Thank
day,
you,
everyone.
everyone,
Guys,
for
have a good day.
joining.
Bye.
All right,
everybody.
thanks. Bye-bye.